The unrealistic timeline you set for yourself fuels the loss of your self-esteem to an illusion of how fast growth should happen. In the 14th century, at the end of the construction of the Duomo in Florence, that is, the Florentine Cathedral, the architect designed a dome so massive and complex that at that time, the technology to actually build it didn't even exist yet. However, they didn't panic. They didn't declare themselves failures because it wasn't finished in 10 years. And eventually, they spent over 80 years building the base, the walls, and the structure, trusting that as they moved forward, the clarity and tools they needed would emerge. Friends, think for a second. If they had demanded a 30-day transformation, the building would have collapsed and we wouldn't even know their names today. You can imagine a work done back in the 14th century, but is still being admired and applauded in the 21st century, simply because they understood that greatness has its own clock. They weren't behind. They were in the middle of the masterpiece. You see, most people begin with a burst of enthusiasm. They try to renovate their entire life in a week. But here is what they forget to account for. Reality. They don't allow for accidents. They don't allow for human nature, especially their very own. When one sets an aggressive and unrealistic timeline and miss it, for most of us, you don't just see a delay, you see a failure. And just as nothing succeeds like success, nothing fails like failure. Every missed deadline becomes a withdrawal from your bank of self-confidence because you aren't just behind schedule, you are becoming a person who no longer trusts their own word. Therefore, the most important step in arranging your life is the calm realization of how incredibly difficult this task is. It demands sacrifice and endless effort. So here is the protocol. Start smaller than your ego wants. Be content with quite a little at the beginning. If you can only manage 15 minutes of discipline, do that. Build the win. Protect your self-esteem at all costs. It is better to move an inch with confidence than to aim for a mile and collapse in shame. Nothing destroys a person faster than failing at expectations that were never grounded in reality. Therefore, my friends, stop treating yourself like a fast food order and start treating it like a cathedral. Build the foundation today, and the dome will come.